Hello, guys, it's your channel. Today I'm gonna give a short review of OnePlus 5T. This is a company that has built its identity on delivering more than the big guns can, and that too at lower prices. Samsung and LG both had the same idea earlier this year: make phone screens taller instead of increasing their size proportionally, and that way you can stretch them without the awkwardness of an overgrown phablet. However, Samsung and LG are gigantic multinational corporations that manufacture their own displays. It took a while for third-party suppliers to catch up, but Vivo, Oppo, and Honor are already shipping 18 to 9 models. OnePlus just couldn't afford to not be playing on the same level. That's why the OnePlus 5 is now on its way out despite being launched with much fanfare only 5 months ago. OnePlus 5T design: the screen measures 6.01 inches diagonally with a resolution of 1080 by 2160 and uses AMOLED technology. Everything looks sharp, bright, and saturated. There are still black borders around it, thinner at the sides than at the top and bottom, but the effect is still immersive. Videos and games are especially engaging. The body of the OnePlus 5T is made of aluminum, and the company is quick to point out subtle design cues such as the sharp crease around the edges of an otherwise curved body. Unlike its predecessors, this model is available only in midnight black, and OnePlus is not saying why it reduced choices, or whether we can expect more options or even special editions down the line. This phone feels solid, but it isn't especially eye-catching in the way that Apple and Samsung's latest flagships are. It also isn't certified for any sort of weatherproofing. Despite persistent rumors of a Snapdragon 836, and so almost nothing about the OnePlus 5T has changed, compared to the OnePlus 5. It uses the same Snapdragon 835 SoC with its integrated Adreno 540 GPU and comes in the same two variants, one with 6 GB of RAM and 64 GB of storage, and one with 8 GB of RAM and 128 GB of storage. This phone supports VoLTE and 4G on both SIMs, but only one at a time, as well as dual-band Wi-Fi 802.11 acres and Bluetooth 5.0 with aptX HD. NFC, GPS, and GLONASS are supported, and there's a wide range of sensors including an electronic compass and gyroscope. The USB Type-C port works at only USB 2.0 speed. The battery capacity is 3300 mAh and OnePlus's own dash charge standard for quick charging will work if you use one of the company's own chargers. OnePlus 5T performance, cameras, and battery life. We tested the OnePlus 5T variant with 8 GB of RAM and 128 GB of storage, and as expected, usage was a breeze. The phone was more than adequately fast when it came to loading apps, playing games, and multitasking. HD videos streamed smoothly and we couldn't feel any hiccups at all. You can choose between the default color profile, sRGB, DCI-P3, adaptive mode, and a custom color temperature. If you find the default too saturated, sRGB might suit you better. The single mono speaker is pretty loud but the music tends to distort at higher volumes, and there isn't any richness to it. The sound is just about good enough for games, and we would have liked better, especially considering this phone's price. There's no headset in the box, though at least there's a standard 3.5mm socket. According to OnePlus, the Type-C ecosystem for headphones isn't good enough yet, and there isn't enough choice in the market. We did find ourselves appreciating some of the tweaks that Oxygen OS brings to Android, such as the ability to wake the phone with a double tap and unlock it with our faces instantly. This is an effective workaround to the lack of a fingerprint sensor on the front, which we did miss when we had the phone lying face up on a table. However, the sensor on the rear is easy enough to reach when the phone is in either hand. I recorded a stellar score of 179,519 with the Antutu benchmark, as well as 1,966 and 6,731 in Geekbench's single-core and multi-core tests respectively. Trademark Ice Storm Extreme gave us 14,291 points and Xpench managed 60 FPS in the T-Rex test as well as an impressive 23 FPS in the car chase test. Verdict: last year, OnePlus replaced the 3 with the 3T because there was a new processor available. This year, it's a new kind of display. In both cases, the changes wouldn't be major enough for large brands to break their yearly cycles, and that just shows the differences between the old and new guards. OnePlus, like most of its Chinese counterparts, does what it takes to try and stay at the top. The OnePlus 5T is marginally better than the OnePlus 5, that is if you don't desperately need the older model's optical zoom capabilities. You get a more modern, more appealing phone at exactly the same price, so of course the 5T is the better pick. For the most part, we agree that the low-light sensor is more useful than a telephoto lens, but we did miss the ability to frame some shots better. In any case, there's no question of choosing between the two models since OnePlus has replaced the 5 outright and most variants are already out of stock. Should existing OnePlus 5 owners rush out to buy the new model? Absolutely not, but some loyal fans of the brand will do just that. If you have a phone that's at least 2 years old, the OnePlus 5T certainly has a strong appeal. We can't say we're thrilled with the upward trend in this company's prices, especially since you don't get all the perks of a top-end phone, such as weatherproofing, wireless charging, and a super slick design. If you're looking for the phone with the biggest wow factor, the Xiaomi Mi Mix 2 comes in within the same price range. If you aren't caught up in the 18-9 hype, the Honor 8 Pro still sells for a good bit less, and on the other hand if you can afford to spend more, the Samsung Galaxy S8 will keep you happy.